Good morning everyone. Good morning Sir Musha, also Sir Clark. We are the group 1 to present to you the course outcome 7, test repair electrical system. Our objectives on this topic would be performing battery servicing, performing jump starter inspection, performing alternator inspection, also testing replacing electrical components. So these objectives will focus on the topic on the course 7 outcome. Before we start, these are the safety equipments that you need to use when you are working in the workplace. First, eye protection, goggles, face shield, foot protection, head protection, hard hat, hand protection, hearing protection, breathing apparatus, also keep clear. Then, these are the 5S. Sort, set in order, shine, standardize, and also sustain. So, these are the tools needed that you use on this repairing on the electrical system. So one of the important tools is first the multimeter, second plier sets, third SST tools set, fourth hydrometer, fifth battery terminal spray, sixth wrench set, seventh screwdriver set. Also the last is the second wrench set. So let's start. So first topic is the battery servicing. So we have two methods to service the battery. For the first method, performing battery maintenance. So this method will tackle different maintenance on our battery. For example, cleaning, inspecting, and etc. On the first step, clean the battery terminals with water and baking soda. First, identify the positive side of the battery by finding the red cap. Always disconnect the negative side first. Turn the bolt connecting the wires to the negative terminal counterclockwise and lift the wire up. Do the same for the positive side, making sure you don't touch the two wires to any metal parts of the car. Then make a 1:1 mixture of baking soda and water. Dip a hard bristled brush into the solution and scrub both battery terminals. So this step will tell that you know how to clean your battery, especially on the positive and negative terminal. Also, once that you are cleaning the battery, wag na wag daw ipagdidikit yung dalawang wire kasi magkukos ito ng sparking or explosion ng ating battery. And mas mapapanatili natin dapat ang ating paglilinis ng battery to make a perfect run to our car, and also to prevent any hazardous things on your car. So this picture will implies that the step I said lately. So first, remove the negative terminal, also the positive terminal. Then step 3, paghahaluin na natin ang ating baking soda at water. Then you need to find any kind of brush to brush the terminal of the battery. Second step, coat the battery terminals in terminal spray to prevent corrosion. After you've cleaned the battery terminal, protect them from further corrosion with terminal spray. Hold the can 4 inches or 10 cm from the terminal and spray until the connection is coated. Then spray the other terminal. So this step said that pagkatapos mo daw linisin ang mga battery terminals, then lalagyan mo siya ng battery terminal spray. So itong spray na to is makakatulong to prevent any corrosion or yung pagbulok ng ating terminal. Dahil once kasi na-corrode yung terminal natin, maaaring hindi ito mag-function or magbigay ng any electric doon mismo sa terminal natin papunta sa kotse natin. So, kailangan nalilinisan din ito upang maprotektahan at mapanatili nating maganda o maayos ang ating mga terminal sa battery. Step 3. Tighten the hold down to prevent the battery from rattling around. Excessive vibration can damage the battery over time. The hold down bar keeps the battery stable and prevents vibration damage. Test your battery hold down by opening the hood and shaking the battery. If the battery moves, the hold down is too loose. Locate the bolts connecting the hold down to the battery. They are usually along the top of the battery. Where the hold down bar stretches across, use a socket wrench and turn the bolts clockwise to tighten them. So this step will implies that sabi na once daw ang ating hold down or yung pinagkakapitan ng ating battery is maluwag, may possibility ito na malaglag or syempre pwede rin itong karoon ng cost sa mismong battery natin or magkakaroon ng mga gasgas or sira. And once na ganun ang nangyari, pwedeng magkaroon ng hazardous things sa ating sasakyan kasi nga naalog-alog yung battery natin. So dapat daw nahihigpitan natin ito ng naayon sa higpit at kailangan mapapanatili natin itong nakapwesto at hindi gumagalaw-galaw sa ating sasakyan upang mapanatili or ma-prevent natin yung kahit anong dangerous things sa ating sasakyan. Kung makikita nyo sa picture, ito yung tamang way ng paghihigpit ng ating battery. Kailangan exact tightening or kailangan hindi maluwag and also hindi rin gaanong kasikipan upang mapanatili natin yung pag-straighten ng ating battery sa mismong hold down position. Step 4. Wrap the battery in a battery heater to prevent damage from the cold. If you live in a cold climate or winter is on its way, a battery heater can prevent your battery from dying in the cold. These are basically jackets that fit over the battery and keep it warm. Get a battery warmer from your auto parts store and follow the installation instruction for the product. So, dito, sinasabi sa ating step 4 na once ang lugar natin ay kalamigan, like for example, kakaroon ng winter or ng snow, mas mainam daw na lagyan natin ito ng battery warmer to prevent our battery to stop during running. So this warmer will help to our battery to maintain the good running and also to prevent any stopping once tayo ay nagpapatakbo ng isang sasakyan. So itong battery warmer ay isa sa pinakamagandang bagay para sa ating battery or para sa ating sasakyan na rin. Syempre, kung nasa winter tayo na lugar, mas mapapainam natin yung pagpapatakbo ng tuloy-tuloy lang, 'di ba? Hindi na tayo hihinto-hinto at mas mabilis yung pagdaloy ng kuryente sa ating sasakyan during winter time. Step 5. Check the battery fluid level and add distilled water if it's low. Unscrew the vent caps on the top on the battery and look inside each cell with a flashlight. The fluid should cover the battery plates. If it doesn't, the level is too low. Pour in distilled water until the water covers the battery plates and reaches the bottom of the cell refill holes. So, dito sinasabi sa ating step 5 na kailangan is na maintain din ni battery yung level ng fluid sa loob ng battery natin. Kasi once na hindi ito na maintain ng isang battery, pwede itong mag-cause ng damage and also pwede tayong mamatay-matay during na nagpapatakbo tayo ng ating sasakyan. Kasi nga, hindi na nami-maintain ng battery yung certain fluid or yung nagbibigay sa kanya ng power din para sa ating battery. So, kailangan once na check natin at yung measurement ng battery level is hindi na accurate dun sa mismong level ng ating battery, lalagyan natin siya ng distilled water or minsan napapansin ko sa ibang mga mekaniko naglalagay sila ng mga acids. So, itong acid na to is isa sa mga makakatulong sa ating battery to maintain the good way or the good process para magbigay ng perfect electricity sa ating car. Step 6. Buy a battery that's less than a month old when you replace yours. When it does come time to change the battery, always get a new one. Look on the side of the battery for the manufacture date. Find one that was manufactured within the last month for the best battery performance. So, sinasabi lang dito sa step 6 na once daw na magpapalit ka na ng isang battery, mas mainam daw na bumili ka na ng panibago or after that you replace your battery. Para daw, once na papalitan mo na yung battery natin is makakapagpalit tayo ng mabilisan. Lalong-lalo na kung nasa running time ka or nagpapatakbo ka ng sasakyan. Once kasi na namatayan ka ng sasakyan, lalo na sa NLEX, mga ganyan, pwede ka pang mahuli or pwede ka pang matikitan doon. Syempre, para once kasi na nakapagbili ka na or nakapag-reserve ka ng isang battery is mas madali natin makikita or malalaman na para mapalitan natin agad ito. Then, dapat yung bibili nating battery is manufactured or certified ng isang government upang yung syempre yung yung battery natin is kailangan quality and hindi makakaapekto sa atin especially and sa ating sasakyan din. So yun. First step, unplug any appliances when the car isn't running. When the car isn't running, appliances pull power directly from the battery. Unplug all cell phones, GPS navigators, or any other appliances. Plug into the charging port once you turn the car off. Don't plug anything back in until you start the car engine. So, sinasabi lang dito na once na ang sasakyan natin is hindi umaandar, you need to replace all the connecting appliances or gadgets. So, kailangan naka-unplug ito, nakatanggal, and kailangan hindi pa makakapag-consume yung battery natin or makakapagkuha pa sa ibang appliances para masupplyan pa ito. Kailangan naka-unplug or nakatanggal para yung battery natin is naka-focus lang sa pagbibigay ng electricity sa pinaka-main na natin, which is sa starter and the alternator and etc. Step 2. Turn off the headlights and interior lights when the engine is off. Just like appliances, these lights pull power directly from the battery when the car isn't running. Once you turn the car off, turn off all the lights that are on. Don't start them again until you start the engine. So, sinasabi lang dito sa step 2 na katulad lang din sa step 1 which is unplug. So, dito naman, once na magpapaandar tayo ng sasakyan, kailangan naka-turn off ito and para hindi pa kumonsume ng electricity sa ating battery. So, alam naman natin na itong mga ilaw natin, mga appliances natin, mga gadgets na nakapaloob sa sasakyan natin is binibigyan siya ng supply ng ating battery din, syempre. So, kailangan once na magpapa-open tayo ng isang sasakyan, kailangan naka-turn off ito upang hindi pa mag-consume ng more battery electricity sa ating sasakyan upang hindi ito mag-lose or hindi ito makulangan sa pagsusupply ng kuryente sa iba't ibang bahagi ng ating sasakyan. Step 3. Drive the car regularly to keep the battery charged. Car batteries recharge when you drive, so don't leave the car sitting for weeks at a time. Take drives of at least 20 minutes once a week to give your battery enough time to recharge. So, sinasabi lang dito sa step 3, which is na kailangan nare-recharge din natin ang ating battery. So, paano nga ba nare-recharge ang ating battery? Through the alternator. So, si alternator, siya yung nagbaback or nagre-recharge ng ating battery to maintain the good giving electricity to our car. So, kailangan daw at least 20 minutes of running or kahit paandarin mo daw yung ating sasakyan to recharge our battery. So, hindi daw dapat kailangan na i-stack yung sasakyan natin or hindi napapaandar. Kasi once daw na ganun ang nangyayari is maaaring ma-discharge ang ating battery at pwede tayong mahirapan sa pag-start nito kasi nga hindi na nakapagbigay or nakakapag-supply ang ating battery sa ating mga components ng electrical or sa system ng ating sasakyan. Step 4. Keep your battery charged to 12.6 volts. This is the ideal voltage for a battery charge. If the battery falls below this level, this performance and lifespan will decrease. Get a voltmeter and connect the positive LED or red to the battery, positive terminal, and negative LED or black to the negative terminal. Hold them there for a few seconds and wait for the meter to produce a reading. So, sinasabi lang dito sa step 4 is kailangan daw na yung battery natin is napapanatili nating charge to at least 12.6 volts. Kasi once daw na bumaba ang voltahe nito sa 12 pababa or something 11 point something is maaari na tong ma-discharge and also mas mahihirapan na rin mag-supply ang ating battery. So, to keep your battery charge, kailangan is itetest natin ito sa ating battery and also kailangan papaanda rin natin yung sasakyan natin. So, by using voltmeter, syempre, habang umaanda rin sa sasakyan is i-check neto kung yung battery natin is umaabot pa ba sa certain level or yung pinaka level na hinihingi ng ating battery, which is the 12.6 and above, or hanggang ang pinaka main lang talaga ng battery charge natin is 12.6 to 12.8 volts. So kailangan dun lang daw pumapalo ang ating battery level to maintain the good quality or to maintain to good giving sources to our car. So yan, mapapansin mo sa picture is nabasa ng ating voltmeter na umaabot yung level ng battery charge natin sa 12.6 volts. So yan ang pinaka certain level ng ating battery. So yan. Step 5. Attach a trickle charger to the battery if you don't use it for long periods. A trickle charger hooks into a power outlet and provides a steady charge to the battery. This keeps the battery at the correct charge even when you don't drive the car. It's a useful appliance for cars that aren't driven often. Connect the trickle charger the same way you couldn't connect a normal charger. Hook the negative LED to the negative terminal first, then connect the positive LED. Then plug the charger in. Leave it attached until you drive the car again. So, sinasabi lang sa ating step 5 na once na meron din tayong may mga charging equipment para sa ating battery to maintain the level of the battery charger, which is the 12.6. So, ito yung tinatawag nating trickle charger. So, si trickle charger daw, isa siyang electrical appliances or electrical devices na pwedeng mag-charge ng ating battery and to maintain then the good quality level sa ating battery para sa ating sasakyan. So, kahit hindi mo daw patakbuhin ng ating sasakyan is kayang-kaya ni trickle charger na i-charge ang ating battery na nakapatay yung ating sasakyan. So, yun. So, we are done for our battery inspection. So, for the next inspection would be the starter inspection. So, we have 3 parts to inspect the starter. For the part 1, to inspect our starter inspection, first, you must check the pinion. First step, turn on the headlights and try to start the car. A couple of things might happen when you do this. If the car makes a noise like it's going to start but the headlights dim, then the starter pinion is probably jammed. So dito daw sinasabi sa ating first step is you need to turn on the headlights and you need to try to start the car. When once daw na ang car is maingay habang nag-start, then yung headlight natin or yung dim light is so sinasabi dito that yung starter pinion daw natin is nagja-jam or nagkakaroon ng pagkakaroon ng problema sa ating battery. So kailangan ma-check natin ito upang maiwasan ang kung kahit anong problema para sa ating sasakyan. Step 2. Turn the pinion stub with an adjustable wrench or spanner. The starter is a large electrical motor in a cylindrical housing, and it's usually bolted to one side of the engine block. If you see a small square stub or the pinion stub sticking out of the end of the cylinder, turn it with your wrench until it moves freely in place. Try starting the car again once the pinion can remove freely. So in this step, kung makikita nyo, you need to adjust the pinion stub. So bakit ba natin siya i-adjust? So sabi, kaya kailangan daw neto i-adjust is para mag free play siya or umikot siya ng maayos. Then once daw na nag free play na yung ating pinion stub is may indicate neto na okay na ang pagbibigay or magiging pagsusupply doon sa ating pagsusupply ng kuryente doon sa ating sasakyan. Step 3. Rock the car if you see no stub and have a manual transmission. Turn the car off and put it in second gear. Release the emergency brake and rock the car back and forth. This can loosen the pinion. So in this step, so kailangan daw naka-turn off yung car. Then yung manubela natin is ilalagay natin sa second gear. Then once na nalagay natin, i-release daw natin yung emergency brake para mag-rock yung yung car natin sa harap and sa likod. Then once daw na parang kumadyot na ganun, na yung ma-indicate daw natin na yung pinion natin is maluwag na. So yon, we are done on the part 1. Then next is our part 2, testing the electrical system. So this part, dito titignan natin kung paano tin-test yung battery, kung paano chine-check, and also kung paano siya i-measure. First step, visually inspect the battery terminals. Pop the hood of your car and check the positive and negative terminals of the battery. If there is any dirt or corrosion, it can cause a bad connection and a lack of power to the starter. So sinasabi lang sa step 1 na kailangan pagbukas mo daw ng hood is check mo yung mga battery terminals natin kung nagkaroon na ba ng corrosion or yung rust or any dirt. Kasi once na meron ng mga ganyang problem is magkakaroon na ito ng kakulangan sa pagsusupply ng power or ng kuryente sa ating sasakyan. So kailangan maigi na i-inspect natin ito ng naayon sa oras or naayon sa panahon na binibigay sa ating service manual. Step 2. Test the battery's voltage with a multimeter. Set your multimeter to its DC setting and its dial to 20 to test from 0 to 20 volts. Place the red probe on the battery's positive terminal and black probe on the negative terminal. You will get a reading above 12 volts if the battery is working properly. So, sinasabi lang dito sa step 2 na kailangan din nating i-test ang ating battery to see if the battery is good pa ba para sa ating sasakyan. So, by using a multimeter, isi-set ito sa DC or sa ating meter para makita kung yung certain volts pa ba ng battery is pumapalo pa siya sa 12 volts and above. So, yun. Step 3. Visually inspect the solenoid. If you try to start the car and nothing happens and the battery seems to be powering properly, then there is likely a connection problem with the solenoid. This device is small cylinder usually attached to the top of the starter. Usually inspect it to make sure all of the wires running to it are connected properly. So, kailangan daw or sinasabi dito sa step 3 na you need to inspect the solenoid. So, saan nga ba nakikita ang solenoid? So, kung mapapansin mo, nakadikit yan sa ating starter. So, once daw na ang problema ng sasakyan natin is good naman daw ang battery, nakakapagbigay naman daw ng power o ng supply ng kuryente sa ating sasakyan, pero hindi pa rin ito napabibigyan ng crank or yung tawag dito ng andar para sa ating sasakyan. So, pwedeng magkaroon ng problema sa solenoid sa starter natin or yung cylindrical shape na nakadikit sa mismong starter. So, dito sa solenoid na to, meron din tong mga wire na konekta sa iba't ibang parts ng ating sasakyan. So, kailangan din na visually inspect natin to prevent para sa ating sasakyan na masira, syempre. Step 4. Use a circuit tester to see if the current is getting to the solenoid. Place one lead of the circuit tester or test lamp to the feed terminal of the solenoid. Attach the other lead to bare bodywork metal. If the tester lights up, then the problem is with the solenoid or the starter itself, not the current getting to it. So, sinasabi lang dito na sa step 4 na kailangan gagamit tayo ng test circuit tester para daw makita natin if yung solenoid natin is nagbibigay pa ba ng sources para dun sa electrical wirings natin na nagbibigay dun sa ating sasakyan. So, once daw na umilaw ang solenoid or yung tester rather, which is yung solenoid yung good, then once na ang starter natin is nagkaroon ng bad, syempre sa starter yung may problema. Fifth step, check the solenoid output current. Place one connector of a test lamp on the output of the solenoid and the other on the battery's ground or terminal. The lamp should light. If not, you will need to take the starter or solenoid assembly off and bench test it. So, once na ang current tester natin or yung test lamp sa mga normal na mekaniko or sa tawag ng mga mekaniko is or sa electrician, once na umilaw ito, may possible na good, and once na hindi, syempre may possible na maging bad yung solenoid natin. So, sa paggamit ng circuit tester, kailangan i-connect mo yung mga probe nito sa battery natin. Then yan, kung mapapansin mo sa picture, yung red probe is nakalagay doon sa positive, then yung black is doon sa negative. So, we are done on the part 2. So, let's proceed on the part 3. Bench testing your starter. So, this part, didiscuss dito yung paano nga ba ini-inspect yung starter natin and also in other way of inspecting. First, remove your starter. If you hear nothing when you try to start the car and the electrical circuit seems to be okay, then there is probably a problem with the starter itself. You'll need to carefully disconnect the starter wiring and bolt it and remove it from the engine block to do further testing. Syempre, dito sinasabi na once na magre-remove ka daw ng starter, syempre kailangan mo na magtanggal sa battery unang-una. Syempre, once na ang battery natin is nakalagay pa yung mga terminals is may possible yun na magka-crank ito, or lalo na kung naka-open pa yung car natin. So kailangan naka-disconnect muna lahat na mga possible way na magkakaroon ng sparks like nga sa battery terminals natin. So dito sa pag-remove daw ng starter, you need to be carefully to remove this kasi pwedeng, yun nga sabi ko, once na nag-crank yun, iikot yan, then pwede tayong maaksidente. So kailangan dahan-dahan lang para hindi magkaroon ng damage ang ating starter, and especially our solenoid that connect on our starter. Step 2. Attach jumper cables to your starter. Take the red jumper cable and connect one end to the positive terminal of a car battery. Connect the other end to the positive pose on the starter solenoid. Attach one end of the black jumper cable to one of the starter's ears, and it's the other end to the negative battery terminal. Step 3. Connect a wire to the starter's small terminal. Take a few feet of insulated 16 gauge wire, strip one end and clip in it onto the small terminal on the starter. Go ahead and strip the other end as well, but don't do anything with it yet. Step 4. Hold the starter down with one foot. When you bench test the starter, it may move around and shoot some sparks. Holding it down with your foot prevents it from jumping around and causing injury. So this step, sinasabi dito na kailangan mo gumamit ng isang paa, then iipit mo ito sa ating solenoid kasi nagbibigay pa to ng spark. Then once na natapakan mo na ang solenoid, is kailangan dahan-dahan mo itong dahan-dahan i-adjust, and also kailangan naka-hold yung solenoid natin to prevent any causing injury na pwede mabigay ng ating solenoid kasi may mga sparking time pa na nabibigay itong solenoid natin. Step 5. Touch the other end of the wire to the positive battery post. When you do this, the starter pinion should move and spin. If it doesn't, then the starter is bad and will need to be replaced. So sinasabi dito sa step 5, sa pag-test ng starter, syempre connect sa battery. Then kapag sinasabi na ang pinion natin is umiikot, good pa yung starter natin. Then once na ang starter natin ay hindi na umiikot, automatic bad na yon yung starter natin kasi hindi na umiikot or hindi na makakapagbigay ng crank doon sa ating flywheel, sa ating engine. So we are done on inspecting the starter. So next, we will proceed on the alternator inspection. So in this inspection, we have two methods to inspect our alternator. So for the method 1, using a voltmeter. Step 1. Buy a voltmeter. You can find one at any auto parts store for less than $20. Don't worry about getting an expensive one. A cheap voltmeter will do for this purpose. So, sa step 1 daw, you need to buy a voltmeter. Syempre, kailangan nating bumili niyan upang makapag-test tayo ng any electrical parts or nagsusupply sa ating electrical system, which is the alternator, battery, and etc. So, sa pagbili naman ng voltmeter, meron nito may mga cheap lang, and syempre meron din nito yung may mga mamahalin. Syempre kung ikaw bilang isang mekaniko, doon ka na bibili sa mga mamahalin para the more the higher the price is, the more natatagal yung yung gadget natin or yung device na gagamitin natin. Step 2. Check the battery first. The battery is needed to start the vehicle, which is spins the alternator at sufficient speed to keep the battery charged. This means that if your battery is too low, you will be unable to start the vehicle, and thus you will also be unable to test the alternator, rendering any additional voltmeter testing totally useless if the weather is cold or your battery is old. Your battery could be the issue and your alternator might be just fine. That's why you need to check the battery before checking the alternator. So, this step, sinasabi na kailangan daw talaga unang i-check ang battery before you checking your alternator. Bakit? Kasi nga, once ang battery natin is hindi na nakapagbigay or nakakapag-supply sa ating sasakyan, hindi ito sa kadahilanan minsan sa alternator. Pero, may pagkakataon na talagang nasa alternator yung may problema. Kasi nga, hindi na nakakapag-recharge ng maayos yung ating battery dahil sa ating alternator. Step 3. Start the vehicle and revolution the engine to 2000 RPM. This will draw power on your battery, which should cause your voltage regulator to kick the alternator into higher gear. So, as you can see on the PowerPoint, they have a video to watch the starting the vehicle and revolution the engine, or the related videos about this step. So, you need to watch to gain more knowledge and information about this. Step 4. Keep the engine running and retest the battery with the voltmeter. When you read the voltmeter this time, the voltage should go up to the at least 13. If varying the RPMs causes the voltage to fluctuate between 13 and 14.5 volts. Your alternator is in good shape if, on the other hand, the voltage remains the same or decreases, your alternator isn't working properly. So, sinasabi dito sa step 4 na while your engine running, so itetest pa rin natin yung battery natin na by using our voltmeter. Then, habang umaandar, kailangan daw pumapalo yung voltmeter natin ng into 13 to 14.5 volts. So, once na nagpapalo sa mga ganung level is yung battery natin is good maintaining. Then, once na bumaba, bad na yun para sa ating sasakyan. So, meron ditong video na pwede nyo mapanood to gain more knowledge and information about these steps. So, we are done on the method 1. So, next is our method 2, which is monitoring your alternator. Step 1. Check the alternator gauge. If you have a volt gauge, it will read the alternator output for you. Run engine at 2000 RPMs for test and turn on the blower fan for the AC or heater, the headlamps, and any other accessories that put a strain on the alternator, and watch the gauge to see if it decreases voltage or amperage. As a rule, if the voltmeter is higher when the engine is running than when the engine is not, you can confidently assume that the alternator is charged. So, dito, you need to check the alternator gauge. So, kailangan daw, habang nag-run yung engine, kailangan pumapalo pa rin to hanggang sa 2,000 revolution per minutes, or kapag nagtitest tayo para nasusupplyan pa rin or machi-check natin kung accurate pa ba yung giving of supplies para sa ating mga accessories, heater, headlamps, and etc. Step 2. Listen to the alternator while the engine is running. So, if there is a problem with the bearing, you may hear a squealing sound coming from the front of the car, which becomes louder with more electrical accessories using power at the same time. So, dito habang daw umaandar yung engine natin, syempre papakinggan natin yung alternator. So, kapag yung alternator natin is tahimik or something na konti lang yung tunog, wala siyang problema. Then, once na yung alternator natin is para may kumakaluskos or may sumasayad, so it may cause on our bearings or something na sa ibang parts na naka-indicate dun mismo sa alternator natin. So, kailangan din talaga natin na check yun para hindi magkaroon ng malaking problema para sa ating sasakyan. Step 3. Turn the radio on and rev the engine. Tune your radio to a low number on the AM band with no music. If the radio whines or gas fuzzy whenever you hit the gas, the alternator is quite likely the culprit. So, in this step. So, kailangan naka-turn daw yung radio. Once na nagre-revolution yung engine. So, dito tinitest or open yung radio natin sa mababang number on the AM band. So, walang music yun Then, once na yung radio natin is nag-whines or nag-fuzzy effect, when you hit the gas or pag tinapakan mo yung accelerator, then yung alternator natin is quite the culprit. So, ibig sabihin, okay or good yung alternator natin um, na pwedeng magkaroon ng good para sa ating sasakyan or sa ating mga accessories. Step 4. Find an auto parts store that tests alternators for free. Since every store would love for you to buy your new alternator from them, many will try to get the edge up on their competitors by offering free testing. Dismount your alternator and bring it in to be sure. So, dito sinasabi lang na once na suki ka na sa mga auto parts or mga shops, so pwede ka nilang rekomendahan ng libreng inspection sa parts or pagtitest sa inyong alternator or sa other parts na may problema. So kapag ganyan kasi suki ka na, then lagi ka nagre-recommend sa kanila. So kapag ganoon, syempre as a owner ng isang store, bibigyan din kita ng magandang transaction para mas lalo mong pagkatiwalaan yung shop namin or yung trabaho namin para sa inyo. Okay, for the last topic, the testing, replace electrical components. So, this topic will discuss the different removing or installing parts that connected on our electrical system components. The course outline of this topic is this chapter we explain the removal and installation procedures for the headlight using an electrical tester and EWD. Learn check procedure for electrical equipments. First, removal. Remove headlight bulb. Second, inspection. Check battery and voltage of the headlight. 3. Installation or install headlight bulb. EWD stands for electrical wiring diagram. Removal. Disconnect headlight connector. So, disconnect the headlight connector. So, once na mag-i-inspect tayo, kailangan una is i-disconnect natin yung headlight connector natin. Then, once na na-disconnect yun, pwede mo na siyang i-inspect on their different parts. Titignan natin doon kung ano ba nga yung may mga problema. Then, hahanapin natin doon kung ano yung magiging problema. Then, once na nakita natin yung problema is, i-fix na natin siya para mabalik na natin sa dating kondisyon. For the removal of headlight, these are the steps or the process to remove the headlight bulb. So first, remove the rubber cover while pulling the tab. So kailangan daw tanggalin yung rubber cover para mas mabilis or mas mapadali yung pagtanggal ng headlight bulb natin. Then remove the spring fixing the bulb and remove the bulb. So kailangan tatanggalin din daw yung spring na nakaloob dun mismo sa bulb. Then, once na natanggal yon is pwede na natin check doon kung may mga problema pa ba. Then, once na wala na or meron pa, maaari natin itong hanapan ng magandang solusyon para magkaroon ng maganda at bagong kondisyon sa ating headlight bulb. So, we have two components. So first, spring and also the headlight bulb. Next, inspection. So you need to inspect headlight bulb. First, set the electrical tester to resistance measuring range. Connect the leads of the electrical tester to the bulb and check. Next, inspect battery voltage. Set the electrical tester to DC voltage measuring range. Number 2, connect the tester negative side lead to the battery negative terminal and the tester positive side lead to the battery positive terminal. And third, check the battery voltage. So our hint, the battery voltage is usually shown to be approximately 12.6 volts. However, the actual voltage is in the range of 10 to 14 volts. Inspect headlight circuit. Check the headlight connector. See electrical wiring routing or electrical wiring diagram to confirm the position of the headlight connector. Hint, check the connector on the vehicle harness side. Refer to how to use this manual to see how to use the EWD. So we have two connector, which is first connector number headlight 1, then number 2 connector number headlight 2. So next is C connector list in also related on the inspect headlight circuit. So number 2, C connector list in EWD to confirm the shape, pin, number of the headlight connector. So check the connector on the vehicle harness side. Okay, same. Refer to how to use this manual to see how to use the EWD. So we have two again. So left headlight, side headlight bulb connector, headlight 1 gray. Right headlight, side headlight bulb connector, headlight 2 gray. So etong mga headlight bulb connector natin is sila yung nagbibigay ng supply para dun sa ating headlight para umandar ito. Again, connection pa rin about to inspect the headlight circuit. So number 3, see system circuit in electrical wiring diagram to confirm the wiring color of the wire harness. Also, as same as on number 1, that you need to check the connector, ganun pa rin. Headlight 1 connector LH, H2 headlight connector RH. So as you can see on the picture, these are the diagrams on headlight on paano siya nagkakaroon ng process or paano siya nasusuplayan ng kuryente or ng paano siya gumagana para sa ating sasakyan. So next, inspect headlight connector voltage. Connect the tester leads to the terminal shown in the illustration. Check the voltage by connecting the tester leads to the headlight connector of the vehicle side. Never push the terminal or applying strong force to the terminal could cause damage to the terminal. So kung mapapansin mo sa picture, ito yung diagram ng headlight connector voltage natin. So kung mapapansin mo, dito is ini-indicate yung diagram or kung paano nagfo-flow yung electricity into low and also the high light. So ito yung parang ano natin, high and low. Then yung tinatawag nating headlight bulb connector, ayan, meron sa high, meron sa low. Also yung pag-test sa multimeter or sa voltmeter natin. Then also on how this electricity will back on our battery. Okay, part 2. Check if the light control switches and that the voltage of the check terminal changes when switching the light control switch between low and high. Low beam, also high beam. Then number 1, battery voltage. So again, kung mapapansin mo ulit sa picture, as I said lately. So the same kung i-check mo lang dito kung paano gumagana yung light control switches. Then kung paano nagkakaroon ng changes sa ating mga terminal. Yan. So, sa high and low, check mo dyan kung paano nagkakaroon ng switches. Then, kung kanina naka-indicate sa low, ngayon naman naka-indicate sa high. So, next, installation. Install headlight bulb. Match the bulb tab with the bulb socket notch and fit the tab into the hole. When replacing the bulb with a new one, be sure to use a bulb of the same wattage. So yan, kung mapapansin mo sa picture, kailangan magkaroon ng fitting yung tinatawag nating bulb tab doon sa mismong bulb socket touch natin para magkaroon ng exact fitting or exact size sa loob ng headlight natin or sa ilaw natin. So kailangan dahan-dahan lang. And also kailangan same din yung wattage upang ma-prevent natin yung any high or low supplying electricity doon sa ilaw natin. Part 2. Hook the spring and fix the bulb. So, you need to hook the spring. Ayun kung mapapansin mo, para siyang bulate. Yan. So, kailangan i-hook natin yan para maayos yung paglagay ng bulb bulb tab natin. Next, connect headlight connector. So, connect the headlight connector. So, yon sa pag babalik or pagko-connect ng headlight natin or headlight connector. So, dito sa pagbalik is nakita na natin or na-inspect na natin or na-check na natin or na-test na natin lahat ng mga possible way problems. Then, na-fix natin ng maayos at nabalik ng maayos. So, kailangan ganun yung mangyayari once na gumagawa tayo sa isang lugar or sa kahit anong bagay or parts sa ating sasakyan. For the final inspection, check for mistakes in procedures for installing electrical equipments and check that the headlights operate properly. Operate the light control switch and check the corresponding lights turn on at each switch position. 1 low beam, 2 high beam. So, for our final inspection, you need to check all the possible way again or the possible problem na nakikita natin sa ating electrical systems, lalo na sa mga electrical components or parts na related sa electrical systems. So, kailangan maayos natin ito. Then, there is no mistake kasi kapag nagkaroon tayo ng mistake, lalong-lalo na sa mga wirings, magkukos ito ng mga dangerous sa atin or yung pagliyab, pagsabog ng ating sasakyan. So, kailangan once na gumagawa tayo, lalong-lalo na sa electrical system, is maayos at matalino tayo sa paggawa upang hindi magkaroon ng kahit anong problema sa kahit anong gagawin natin. So, these are the references of our discussion. And these are the video references of our discussion. I hope you are enjoying our presentation. Thank you for watching, and I hope you gain more knowledge and information about on the topic test repair electrical system. Thank you and God bless.